and a very good evening to you. Welcome to TV47 Weekend. My name is Stanley Nyirungita.
And I am Muthoni Maina. Keep your comments and feedback coming in at TV47KE across all social media platforms and at Muthoni Q on Twitter.
And at Stanley Nyirungita on Facebook and also on Twitter.
And our sign language interpreter this evening is Anne Wairimu. But before that, let's take a look at tonight's top stories.
Indeed. Tonight, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua hints at the formation of cabinet in the next 2 weeks.
Mutupatie wiki mbili tatu tuweke waziri mpya wa usalama ambaye anajua nini anafanya.
Signaling a thorough overhaul in the Interior Ministry.
Mupatie sisi nafasi tuweke katibu wa Interior ambaye ako na haja ya kufanyia wananchi kazi.
Political analysts predict the beginning of the end of ODM.
Now, what happens when you've been in opposition for 10 years and your party leader is looking like he's about to retire? People see opportunity.
As leadership wrangles threaten to split the party. Parliament to begin sittings on Thursday, complete with new rules and more committees.
There's quite tedious work the budget committee does, and as the constitution is very clear, we must do intensive public participation.
That ought to make MPs' work easier.
Thank you for joining us. Now, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, has asked President William Ruto to scrap off the competency-based curriculum
and to fully implement the original 844 system, claiming that CBC was implemented to benefit some individuals with selfish interests.
To look at educational reforms, including CBC, with a view not of abolishing it, but reviewing it so that we retain what is good and improve what is causing concern.
Barely a day after Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua stated that the government has no plans to abolish CBC, rather to lay strategies to review and improve the system.
CBC is an amorphous arrangement, particularly to just enrich a few.
The Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers now want the government to consider abolishing the new curriculum, citing that it has become a burden to parents, learners and teachers.
Teachers don't know what it is. The parents are suffering, the children are suffering, and we are saying no to CBC.
KUPPET alleges that CBC is a project designed to enrich a few individuals and that they are not ready to receive the junior secondary students earlier next year, arguing that it was hurriedly implemented before the correct strategies were laid in place.
Let it come when it is formed and prepared. Teachers are prepared to handle it at the secondary level. Want to say the president has the time for it. He has the ability, and we know order will be created in the education sector.
Issues around the new curriculum raised debate during the campaign season, with some asking the incoming president to scrap it off.
I assure all that there will be a solution to the matter before then.
During his inauguration, President William Ruto said that he would be coming up with a task force to look on the new school curriculum by conducting public participation and improve it by making it better in certain aspects. Paul Munio, TV47.
Now, from education to the political helm, as after Raila Odinga's political career almost hit a dead end following losing his 5th presidential bid, wrangles are emerging within the party as youngsters seemingly position themselves to become the next party kingpin.
The disquiet in the Orange Democratic Movement Party over the proposed House Committee leadership lineup has opened a new battlefront within the party, with Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino calling out the Odinga-led outfit for what they term as betrayal to loyalists.
Limuki explores the options for the Orange Party and if this new battlefront could be the beginning of ODM's end.
With Raila Odinga's political future remaining unclear, his political bastion for over 17 years is facing internal turbulence as youngsters seemingly position themselves to take over the leadership of the party.
The case of Babu is genuine because Babu raised the issue of youths. Even me, I'm a youth. And we have seen appointments being done from the Kenya Kwanza and also this other side of Azimio. You find from Kenya Kwanza, we have more youths being given positions to lead.
Right, we do apologize for that technical hitch. Now, 250 passengers escaped death by whisker after a passenger train from Nairobi to Kisumu derailed this morning at Mamboleo flyover. And as Beatrice Otari now reports, the blame game has begun between the government and area residents who claim that the unfortunate incident would have been avoided.
Yeah, if only proper maintenance had been done on the rail.
Ndio inakuanga kama alamu yangu ya asubuhi. Na leo imelia sana na sijaona kama inapita. So ndio hata leo sijaenda kazi.
The train that was carrying at least 250 passengers caused a major traffic snarl along the busy Kisumu-Kakamega road after being involved in an accident at the Mamboleo flyover. Fortunately, no one was injured. According to residents living along the railway, the accident could have been avoided if proper maintenance had been done along the rail, adding that construction of the Mamboleo flyover should be hastened to reduce the amount of soil that is along the railway line.
Unaona kenye imetendeka hii ni mambo ya kukosa kumaliza hii flyover cause walikuwa najenga hii na waliacha mchanga mingi hapa kwa hizi sideways hizi za hii barabara. So hizo unaona hizo mchanga zinatoka huko zinakuja na za kule zinakuja. Alafu zinakutana hapa katikati. Sasa zina place za kuenda cause hapa kuna mlima. So zingine zina trend huko na zingine zinakuja hazina njia. So ndio unaona alafu zinaziba njia na hiyo reli. So badala hii kitu ipite inapata kama mchanga imejaa. Unasikia? Alafu sasa kama imejaa haiwezi
Kisumu Railways OCPD Evans Gitembe, however, said in a telephone interview that preliminary reports indicated that the 6:50 a.m. accident was caused by nature due to the heavy downpour yesterday night that left the railway line muddy. This plus the dumping of waste at the Mamboleo intersection. Even though Evans rubbished off claims by locals that the railway line had not been maintained, residents still felt that the risk involved was high and can be contained, considering that the flyover construction is yet to be completed.
And what I will comment to the government, we should look on how the maintenance of this train, the train here, we should look on how the people must maintain the railway, because sometimes it may happen when there is people around, when there's the motorbikes around, and it is very risky.
Reporting for TV47, my name is Beatrice.
Now, moving on, Turkana Governor Jeremiah Lomurkai is now accusing the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission of witch hunt with a view to undermine his performance in his county.
This coming just hours after reports emerged that the Turkana County Chief could soon be arrested of allegations that he forged his degree and diploma certificates. Flora Limuki reports.
A day after it emerged that Turkana Governor Jeremiah Lomurukai was on the EACC radar for allegedly using forged academic certificates to contest in the Turkana gubernatorial seat, the governor has fired back at the anti-graft watchdog for what he terms as threatening leaders with accusations of corruption.
Even those institutions that have been harassing governors, but I'm not ready to be harassed. I will not be seeking for handouts. ati gavana anafichana kwa miti ati kwa sababu kuna watu wanakuja kushika. Mimi utanishika kama nakaa kwa kiti.
While claiming that his allegations are just a ploy to undermine county bosses from delivering on their mandate, Lomorukai echoed Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's sentiment that state agencies could still be used to undermine leaders.
The kind of disrespect we have seen towards elected leaders, all the way from the Deputy President to the governors, to the MPs, to the senators, to the women reps, by government functionaries, has come to an end.
The governor elected on an ODM party ticket will now face forgery charges contrary to Section 345 as read with 349 of the Penal Code. He will also be charged with giving false information to EACC and uttering false documents contrary to Section 353 of the Penal Code.
That kind of harassment must stop. And that is the message from the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Gachagua.
Lomorukai was among the 241 candidates flagged by the EACC as having outstanding integrity issues prior to the August 9, 2022 elections, and their names submitted to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Flora Limuki, TV 47.
Thank you, Limuki, for that. Now to some oranges, if you may, to the earlier story that we had aired. After Raila Odinga's political career almost hit a dead end following losing his fifth presidential bid, wrangles are emerging within the party as youngsters seemingly position themselves to become the next party kingpin.
The disquiet in the Orange Democratic Movement Party over the proposed House Committee leadership lineup has opened a new battlefront within the party, with Embakasi East MP Babu Owino calling out the Odinga-led outfit for what they term as betrayal to loyalists.
Flora Limuki explores the options for the Orange Party and if this new battlefront could be the beginning of ODM's end.
With Raila Odinga's political future remaining unclear, his political bastion for over 17 years is facing internal turbulence as youngsters seemingly position themselves to take over the leadership of the party.
The case of Babu Owino is genuine because Babu raised the issue of youths. Even me, I'm a youth. And we have seen appointments being done from the Kenya Kwanza and also this other side of Azimio. You find from Kenya Kwanza, we have more youths being given positions to lead. And that's what Babu was addressing.
According to political analyst Mark Bichachi, the cracks within ODM could lead to a country with a voiceless opposition, as most members defect to the ruling party, a factor that political pundits opine could lead to a fallout within the Kenya Kwanza coalition in the near future.
What does William Ruto as president want to do with the opposition? Will he continue raiding the opposition? And if he does, how much of the opposition will he raid before the opposition actually rises within UDA itself?
Recently, Babu Owino erupted with rage on Twitter after allegedly learning that the position he was eyeing for the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, PAC, of the National Assembly was given to nominated MP John Mbadi.
Now, what happens when you've been in opposition for 10 years and your party leader is looking like he's about to retire? People see opportunity. And what is that opportunity? Who is going to be the next ODM kingpin? Who's going to inherit the stardom, the leadership that Raila Odinga holds? Who is the next enigma?
The lawmaker challenging the ODM party to borrow a leaf from the rival United Democratic Alliance UDA that has rewarded loyal youthful politicians with House leadership positions.
So what ODM party is doing, they are just accusing Babu Owino that he is marrying like a goat, so that eventually they can eat Babu Owino and they can kill his political career.
All this coming amid the loud silence of Azimio chair former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who promised to flex his political muscle in a bid to be the glue that holds the new coalition together.
During his last term, he disappeared quite a bit, which is part of the reason why people were not happy with him in central Kenya. So will he appear again? He's not resigned from being the chair of Azimio. I don't think he even has the luxury of doing that.
This push and pull within the party is expected to hold a parliamentary group meeting come next week to iron out the issues within the House. Flora Limuki, TV 47.
Thank you, Limuki, for that report. Now, the government has indicated that the much-awaited cabinet secretaries under the Kenya Kwanza regime will be put to power in 2 to 3 weeks.
This is Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua hit at Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i and his PS Kibicho, saying that they did not deliver in their term. The DP was speaking after attending former Baringo Deputy Governor Charles Kingock's funeral in Baringo County.
Chapter Boyd with more details.
The Kenya Kwanza government is expected to appoint cabinet secretaries for various seats in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has hit at Interior CS Fred Matiang'i and his Principal Secretary Kibicho for failing in their term.
Mutupatie wiki 2-3 tuweke waziri mpya wa usalama ambaye anajua nini anafanya. Mupatie sisi nafasi tuweke katibu wa interior ambaye ako na haja ya kufanyia wananchi kazi. Na tufanye mabadiliko hapa na pale ya vitengo za usalama.
Gachagua has committed to end the insecurity menace that has plagued Kerio Valley for years. Kerio Valley has been the epicenter of perennial banditry and cattle rustling in North Rift, leading to tens of deaths in recent months alone.
Katika Kerio Valley, mimi mwenyewe, kwa sababu hiyo ndio kazi yangu, William Ruto tumemwachia kazi ya uchumi, ya kutafuta pesa, ya kurudisha Kenya pahali Mwai Kibaki alituachia. Tumemwachia kazi ya kwenda ng'ambo na kutafuta wawekezaji walete pesa Kenya. Hii kazi ndogo ndogo ya wizi ya ng'ombe na nini, hiyo ni kazi ya Rigathi Gachagua.
Speaking at former Baringo Deputy Governor Charles Kingock's funeral at Solian High School in Eldama Ravine, the second in command has indicated that the government will fulfill its mandate to ensure farmers buy fertilizers at a cheaper price, as this will increase production and lower the cost of living.
Kuna ingine meli mbili imekwama Mombasa. Mimi nikilaki rais naenda huko kukwamua ikuje. Najua meli za vitu vingine ndio iko mbele, ya mbolea iko nyuma. Nitaenda nipitishe ile ya mbolea kwanza ikuwe pale mbele.
Mimi nitaomba serikali kuu iweze kufanya kazi na serikali za county, magavana hawa na my extension officers ndio wanaweza hakikisha mbolea imefikia wakulima kikamilifu.
Former Baringo Deputy Governor Charles died on September 14th at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on his way to the governor's induction after developing breathing problems. Leaders from the county now want the incumbent Governor Benjamin Cheboy to take Kingock's son as his deputy.
My dad, after his inauguration on 25th of August, they hit the ground with His Excellency the Governor Cheboy, starting from hospitals, inspecting hospitals.
Rehema na werevu wa kuchagua deputy wako ukiendelea, lakini Biblia pia inasema wisdom, we hear the voice of wisdom in the marketplaces.
Bwana Governor, tunakuomba ndugu yangu, kwa heshima hiyo familia iendelee namna hiyo. You chose Kingock as your deputy. You will have Kingock as your deputy.
Chapter Boyd TV 47.
Thank you, Chapter Boyd, for that. Now, President William Ruto has vowed to review the Credit Reference Bureau rating formulas as from next week. In an interview with Al Jazeera TV, President Ruto
also touched on matters security, drought and governance. Elizabeth Atieno now reports.
During his inauguration, President William Ruto moved to fulfill a campaign pledge to low-income earners that he would take measures to drive down the cost of credit by shifting the Credit Reference Bureau framework from its current practice of punitive and blacklisting of borrowers, which has denied borrowers credit, making compliance burdensome on genuine business transactions. In December 2021, the Credit Reference Bureau listed 4.6 million defaulters out of the 15 million accounts. President William Ruto now says that the government will start reviewing the Credit Reference Bureau rating formula next week.
We have 15 million stranded, 15 million Kenyans stranded because of a simple decision that can be made to change, to keep the credit reference bureaus, but change the scoring mechanism so that it's not all or nothing.
Speaking to Al Jazeera, President Ruto stated that the review would open up credit access to many Kenyans who ideally wouldn't access the capital to start their business under the current CRB listing formula.
There's a lot that we are going to achieve just by changing policy, not necessarily even going to look for additional resources. Re-engineering the use of the resources we are already using so that we can get best value out of it.
Apart from matters economy, President Ruto also weighed in on the current state of security in the East African region and the ongoing drought situation.
In fact, we have had to reorganize our budget so that we can deploy resources for food relief in those areas. They have not harvested the last 4 years. They've had failed rains for the last 4 seasons. 70% of their livestock they have lost. And therefore it is a real serious situation. That is why Kenya is championing, is providing leadership on matters to do with climate change.
The president is expected to address the first joint sitting of the 13th Parliament on Thursday, the 29th of September, 2022. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Moving on, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, has cautioned governors over the sacking of county staff hired under previous regimes and said top managers should be vetted for integrity before they are hired.
Here's Emmanuel Haimba with more.
In response to emerging cases of intimidation and illegalities that continue to emerge against county employees who were employed by former governors, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC now says that incoming governors risk serious legal prosecution over the same. In a letter to county secretaries and county public service board, EACC Chief Executive Officer Twali Mbarak is urging governors to impress county staff despite their employer in a bid to avoid trouble. According to Mbarak, new governors should enter into a memorandum of understanding with those employees they have found in the county, including termination of their contracts. Several counties have been reported to conduct headcounts and audits on employees under the previous administration in a apparent move to regularize employment, weed out ghost workers, and tame mushroom wage bills. But according to Mbarak, the action could cost the taxpayers millions in illegal fees if the matter proceeds to court. Threats by several governors to not pay pending bills have also caught the attention of EACC, with Commission warning against non-payment of lawfully incurred bills. This comes and concerns over the existence of legal pending bills, which may be used as an avenue to embezzle public funds. In regards to the one graft update over the last 3 years, EACC says it has recovered stolen cash and the property worth 22.8 Kenyan shillings, averted loss of 32.5 billion public funds through disruption of corruption networks, and is pursuing forfeiture of assets worth 33 billion shillings in various courts across the country. During that period, the EACC successfully completed investigating 501 corruption and corruption-related cases, including high-impact cases involving senior government officials, 9 former governors and current governors, permanent secretaries, senators, members of parliament, managing directors of various agents, among others. Haimba Emmanuel, TV 47.
Thank you, Haimba Emmanuel, for that. The fate of millions of school-going children relying on the National Government Constituency Development Fund and GCDF kitty for their fees hangs in the balance.
This is after Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani indicated that the government will be allocated to the kitty due to the Supreme Court decision that is illegal.
Millions of learners are staring at a bleak education future following the abolishment of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, which helped many with, among other things, the payment of school fees. And with the schools being reopened next week, education stakeholders are worried that education will be seriously affected, especially for needy learners.
Hapo mbeleni kumekuwa na kama CDF, kumekuwa sasa CDF, mahakama yamesema ya kwamba CDF is illegal. Sasa utakuta ya kwamba watoto wengi huenda ambao walikuwa wanafaidika na huu mpango hawatafaidika.
Tumekuwa tukipata msaada sana kutoka katika CDF na pia kutoka katika
katika national government, lakini sasa hivi kama vile kuna mabadiliko, kama vile mnajua ya kwamba CDF haitakuwa ikiendelea, itakuwa ni ngumu sana kwa watoto wengi.
Walio na pesa wanapeleka watoto kwa hizi shule za binafsi ambazo ni mzuri, na wala wajiwezi kama watu wa China wawezi.
Such is the plight of Centrine Simeyo, a mother of 2 living with a disability. She says that she has been depending on scholarship funds to educate her kids.
Ni maisha yenye nikomo, sio maisha ya kuongea. Niko na mume lakini inaonekana asifu sina. Niko asifu, niko peke yangu. Sasa kwa ajili ya hivyo, kupitia kwa scholarship hawa wataweza kuniinua kwa maisha yangu. Kile chenye nilikuwa natakana niwashughulikia shuleni, watanishughulikia, na maybe kidogo chenye niko nacho nitafanyia kazi nyingine.
According to the NG-CDF board, education received the biggest chunk of CDF billions at 71%. In the last 5 years, at least 6 million children have received bursaries to the tune of 57 billion Kenyan shillings. Through the kitty, several learning institutions have received a facelift, while others have been constructed afresh.
CDF haiwezi tolewa saa hizi. Ni kweli ile koti ilisema kwamba ile act ya 2013 ilikuwa si halali, lakini baadaye wabunge waliweza kugeuza na wakatengeneza act nyingine ya 2015. Kwa hivyo ile act ambayo iliuawa na koti ama ilikuwa declared kwamba sio halali ni act ambayo haitumiki. Ni kama kuchukua mtu ambaye alikufa, babu yako ambaye alikufa, umpeleke kotini ukaseme ana makosa.
Learners who are beneficiaries of education funding fear that the worst is in the horizon.
My parents are poor and getting food is a problem. I usually ask my teachers for lunch. I usually struggle with my education, but I usually make it. So I may ask if they can assist me with my education to become a better person in future and to help others.
The High Court had earlier declared the CDF Act 2013 illegal since it interfered with the principle of separation of powers. The Supreme Court early last month upheld the decision. MPs have strongly defended CDF since it has influence on their political futures, besides transforming lives.
God for these children.
Right, from that note, we take a short break. We'll be right back with more.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
At Streisand School of Medical Health Science and Technology, we prepare the change makers of tomorrow by training them in theater technology, medical engineering, science laboratory and health records, applied biology, environmental health science, nutrition and dietetics, ICT, counseling psychology, and many more. Enroll with us today and take a certificate or diploma course. Visit our campuses in Juja, Nairobi West, Kisumu, and Homa Bay and get your career going.
Usiyakubalie maumivu ya misuli kukatiza ratiba yako. Kaluma Pain Balm ni dawa ya kusugua iliyotengenezwa kutoka kwa miche maalum ili kutuliza maumivu ya misuli. Kaluma Pain Balm. Shhh. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Your body is your wealth. Take care of it. This October, we'll present to you Body Garage, an all-inclusive health show that will cater for all your health needs, a body, mind and soul.
This fall, a new dawn rises in the Kenyan entertainment scene.
Disability is not only limited to physical disorder, but also mental issue. From depression,
I was under depression for like 2 years.
Bipolar.
Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder.
And even suicidal thoughts.
When I was just about to hang myself, a certain voice just talked to me, and I believe that was God. I tried suicide more than 6 times.
Beyond the Limit has gone beyond its limit to find answers so as to help everyone go through life with ease. Join Muthoni Maina every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Starting this September at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, The Realtor brings it all to perspective. We identify a property, discuss and demonstrate the journey towards ownership.
Professionals who have integrity, and from their catalog you can easily read that these are professionals who are able to deliver.
Everywhere you go, you have to up your games, you have to go with the trends.
Not forgetting the margins as well as the risks that come along.
The runaway prices of the land. We are saying that it's something that we can never go without mentioning. Any developer will not go without mentioning price of land.
Don't miss out. Do you want the latest news on farming? We've got the WikiLeaks for you. Get it? No? Well, okay. Every week, we give you insights on different farms, from crop farming to animal keeping.
They're very hardy insects, yeah? The larvae is a very hardy insect.
We look forward to having an optimum production in maybe about 5 years. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we plant every week and we harvest every week.
Join Violet Njoki every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as we skooma the wiki.
It's not all the time you have to read your farm. Sometimes it's of benefit.
Starting this September at 8:30 p.m.
Hi and welcome to The Grind. My name is Violet Njoki.
We continue to provide the platform that aims to inform and educate on business-related matter. We are here to ask all the relevant questions on your behalf.
When it comes to a catering business, do you need licenses?
Yeah, a lot of it.
And inform you what is happening in the business arena. Be sure to stay tuned.
All week, you look forward to the weekend. And we are here.
Welcome back to TV 47 Weekend. Now on to health matters, as Uganda Ministry of Health has confirmed 11 fatalities due to the outbreak of Ebola disease in Central Mubende district of Uganda.
25 people with Ebola have been admitted. A move that prompted Dr. Jane Ruth, the Minister of Health in Uganda, to conduct public baraza in Mubende district to sensitize the public.
Our reporter Boniface Baraza reports.
Uganda continues to record more Ebola infections since the outbreak of the disease. So far, 11 deaths have been recorded, 25 people admitted for treatment in hospitals, and 58 cases under surveillance. 8 deaths out of 11 were reported in the community, while 3 were recorded in hospitals. The Minister of Health in Uganda, Dr. Jane Ruth, has organized a stakeholders meeting with the residents of the Central District of Mubende being sensitized in regard to Ebola outbreak. She further asked the residents to install hand washing stations in all public places. Within the country, governors from counties bordering Uganda have stepped up efforts to prevent the spread of Ebola.
Wale ambao wanapitia wale kwa border point ile ambayo iko recognized wanaweza kufanyiwa screening. Tuko na mipango ya kufanya hivyo, lakini pia la muhimu ni kwamba wakazi wote hasa upande wa Kenya wapunguze sana safari za kwenda Uganda, na ikiwezekana kwa sasa stop, wasiende kabisa.
Trans Nzoia County Commissioner Mathias Rioba has said they intend to use administration officers in carrying out sensitization exercise among the locals at the village level.
Ni vizuri kwa wakati huu kukaa ndani mipaka yetu ili kujaribu kuona kwamba hatakuwa na mahusiano mengi na nchi jirani na movement mingi ambayo inaweza kupelekea pengine kwa sisi kuambukizwa na maradhi hayo. So tutafanya mikutano na machifu wangu hadi katika kiwango cha vijijini kule. Tutatutumua mfumo mzima wa ngao kuona kwamba wananchi wamepewa ufahamu wa kutoshwa kuhusu hizi dalili na jinsi ya kujikinga nazo.
Boniface Barasa, TV47.
Right, and still on the story that Boniface Barasa did. As the country continues to battle with drug abuse menace, parents' failure to talk and advise their children has been cited as one factor that contributes to a large percentage of young people engaging in drug and substance abuse, leading to addiction.
This also leads to moral degradation among young people, as our reporter Boniface Barasa reports.
Drug addiction and subsequent abuse among young people is said to be a chronic problem that is currently affecting the society, which is the majority in the country. Some of the youths who talk to TV47 claim that youths find themselves in drugs through peer pressure after being neglected by their parents at home.
Vijana kuentel na drug abuse, maybe inaweza kuwa ni peer pressure. Unaona mbogi wenzako wanafanya kitu alafu wanakuvuta ufanye hivyo vile hao wanataka, unajikuta unaanza kutumia hizo vitu.
My friends wanaweza encourage ya kwamba uende engage in drugs so that uweze kujiondoa stress yenye uko nayo, pia labda peer pressure yenye uko nayo nyumbani, wazazi ku break up.
Among many myths associated with drug abuse, it is said that one of the main reasons the menace is becoming rampant among school-going children is the belief that using drugs enables them to pass exams.
Kama kuna friend ya mine huwa ananiambia ati ukitumia drug utapass exam, but me wanna understand the more natumia drug inaku affect.
Dr. Eunice Temeta, mental health specialist at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital Eldoret, said immediate intervention is required as drug addiction endangers the life of many young people.
The youth these days are using a lot of substances. We have tobacco, alcohol that is being abused by the youth. So we need to talk to them about the effects of substance use. Alcohol use is one of the most common among the leading causes of death in Kenya today, and a big burden of disease that is resulting from substance use, mostly alcohol.
Early pregnancies and contraction of life-threatening STDs among the youth are also attributed to drug addiction.
Kuna mambo ya lesbians katika mashule, kuna mambo ya ushoga katika mashule, na pia kuna madawa za kulevya nyingi zinaingishwa katika mashule na pia katika wananchi wa kawaida. Na kama kanisa tumeweka hili jambo nyuma kidogo, tuna concentrate na line moja ya kuwazungumzia mambo ya kiroho. Tunasahau ya kwamba wana grow na wanakuwa, na kuna mambo wanahitajika tuweze kuzungumza one in one.
On his part, Reverend Paul Wahome has challenged parents and religious leaders to take an active role in parental care so that youths, especially in secondary schools, are not lost to the world of drug addiction.
Himizo langu kubwa kwa wazazi ni kwamba tukubali kuwa wazi na watoto wetu, na tujue watoto wetu ni marafiki zetu, watoto wetu ni baraka zetu. Kwa hivyo tusiwaogope na tusiendeleshe ile maisha ya zamani ya kwamba kuna kitu uwezi ambia watoto, kuna mambo muwezi ongea.
Boniface Barasa, TV47, Trans Nzoia County.
Thank you, Barasa, for that report. Now, divisions in families have been cited as a major contributor to mental problems, especially among young men It is reported that most men suffer as a result of stress, family burden, and lack of psychological support, and due to their nature, they suffer in silence since their ego cannot allow them to share their stories. This is according to gender-based violence stakeholders.
Warda Zige, a coordinator with the Haki 8 organization, says unemployment among the youth and frustrations in the workplace has pushed some men into dire depression, some of them committing suicide. The stakeholders have now set up a center where affected men will be taken through mental therapy to diffuse depression and mental-related issues.
Haswa katika hii jenda ya wanaume, utaona hata visa venye vinaripotiwa kwa ma-TV na maredio. Sana sana ni wanaume wamejitoa vitanzi ama wameua familia yao. Kwa sababu unajua maumbile ya mwanaume unaambiwa kazana, koma, usiongee. Ukiongea unaonesha weakness. So ndo unaona wao wanajifinyilia, hawana a safe space ama an alternative place where they can just pour out what they are going through.
Kile kitu ambayo ningetoa haswa mwanzo kwa wanaume, sisi wanawake kushare ni rahisi. Unapata uko na situated ni viji stress ama stress unashare na mwenzako, lakini mwanaume kushare na mwenzake inakuwa ni ngumu sana, anaona kama ambaye amejiteremsha hadi.
We have our mobilizers, we have our champions kule, na hao ndio kama macho yetu. So wanapokuwa kule chini na unaona watu wenye wako na hali kama hizi, hali za kuwa wamepata msongo wa mawazo, na iwapo halitaangaziwa kwa wakati, wanaweza kupoteza maisha yake ama maafa mabaya yanaweza tokea.
Right, moving on now to something quite transpiring right now in the elections and post-elections. The 13th Parliament will work with an additional 10 committees to discharge parliamentary work, according to changes in the revised standing orders.
Now, in the 6th edition standing orders of the National Assembly, notable changes include having in place 43 committees away from the 33 in the 12th Parliament.
Obviously, and we do expect by the next week Raila Odinga, who is the leader of Azimio and also obviously DM, to be meeting with ODM members. Remember, there has been a strife and obviously a drift in that particular party.
Wrangles which are, quite significant, and we are yet to see what is going to happen, as the orange is definitely bitter. Are we going to get to witness more rifts in that party, or are they united and strong? Indeed, and obviously Azimio now as a coalition is obviously thumping the chest and saying that we are the majority, so it is going to be quite something that's on our radar. Definitely, and now let's take a look at this story which has been done and voiced by Elizabeth Mutuku.
As the 13th Parliament commences its duties on Thursday next week, with President William Samoei Ruto addressing its first sitting, the House will be coming with new standing orders and with a proposal to have cabinet secretaries answering questions on plenary. According to the 6th schedule of the new standing orders, there is a creation of new committees to increase the committees to 43 from the current 33. The opposition is expected to reap big in the new positions that are already causing heated debate within the ODM party. In the new orders, the opposition side will oversee 7 committees, with the committees on special accounts earmarked for an independent MP. Some of the new committees set aside for the opposition include the Public Accounts Committee, 3 Public Investments Committee, the Budget Committee on Debt and Privatization, the Committee on Implementation, the Committee on Special Accounts, to be chaired by an independent member.
Also, if you look at the Budget Committee, there's quite tedious work the Budget Committee does. And as the Constitution is very clear, we must do intensive public participation. So, For me, the standing orders is to enhance the efficiency of the 13th Parliament, and I believe my colleagues and members will be able to take advantage of this and do justice to the country.
The Budget and Appropriations Committee, which was held by the government side in the previous Parliament, has been subdivided into 2, which is the Budget and Appropriations Committee and the Budget on Debt and Privatization Committee, which will be led by opposition. Role of the Debt and Privatization Committee is to oversight the public debt and guarantees, examine the matters relating to debt by national government, oversight of consolidated fund services, examinations of reports on status of the economy, oversight of public-private partnership programs. The committee shall as well examine the extent of the total national indebtedness, examine the use of national loans and government guarantees, examine the provisions made for repayment of the national loans, examine the progress made by repayment of national loans, examine terms and conditions under which the national government guarantees loans. The committee is expected to be led by opposition and will go through any debt ceiling proposal before the Budget and Appropriation Committee presents to the House for debate and its passage.
Of the impacts, the implications of public debt to the economy, then Parliament saw it fit to create that committee so that we have a committee which specifically looks at public debt, all the way from the way the debt is negotiated, issue to the way the signing of the agreements, issue of debt repayment, issue of debt servicing, interest rates, and then even issue of looking at, is it going to benefit the country?
This time, Kenyans in diaspora being put into consideration by creating a Diaspora Affairs and Migrant Workers Committee, its roles, considering all the matters directly relating to policies and programs for the protection of the rights and welfare of Kenyans in the diaspora, including Kenyan nationals with dual citizenship, Kenyan migrant workers and their families abroad, and Kenyans undertaking studies overseas. It will be also charged with examining policies and programs of national government for efficiency arsening, mobilizing and steering of Kenyan resources in the diaspora for economic and socio-cultural development, suffrage of Kenyan nationals in the diaspora, engaging and facilitating Kenyans in diaspora, including persons eligible for dual citizenship.
For me, it's a welcome idea to oversight the government in the chamber and in the full glare of the cameras, because you know very well proceedings of parliaments are fully covered and you cannot run away. So the new CSs who will be appointed, kazi kwenu, be ready to be in parliament.
The Public Investments Committee, which is an oversight committee, has been subdivided into three, which will play key role. It has been divided into Public Investments on Commercial Affairs and Energy, Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education, Public Investments Committee on Social Services and Agriculture. Members of Parliament say this will deal with piling reports and which have not been examined from 2016 and 2017.
PAC ambao wanaangalia Public Accounts Committee ambao ndio wanaangalia audited accounts na kuhakikisha kwamba zinakuja zinapitishwa ndani ya bunge, itakuwa na wakati rahisi sasa kuangalia accounts zote. Tunataka by the time tukimaliza 2023 tuwe tuko accounts za 2023, hata mgao wa county uwe unaenda sawa na zile accounts ambazo ziko ule mwaka.
Committees usually undertake most of the work done by the House by carrying out investigations, hearing evidence from the witnesses, seeking advice from experts, and deliberate on matters of inquiry before reporting to the House. The move to create more committees comes as bittersweet, as on one hand, MPs will have to breeze in their duties. On the other hand, the already